This is a eulogy I wrote for a friend of mine. It's called Long Live the Rat King. There's plenty of virtue to explore and aspire to when one lives day to day in the ever so reachable world so humbly called punk. Roger White, in all his world-traveled wisdom and dog-hearted loveliness, carried with him most, if not all of them. New York City lost a great New Yorker. A good lover lost a good love. And the man who, in blindsight compassion, saved my life and pulled me up from a would-be red snow could only do so now in spirit. For that last thought, I'll never have to compromise myself to a bed of snow for long to come, if ever at all. First step being Roger's deceptively simple kindnesses. It's a custom to call the recently parted good, decent human beings. I only wish Roger extended his powerful kindness to the man he saw in his all too neglected mirror. Fortunately, he let the right wolf in. He befriended his better angels. We'd found him, and to wipe clean all the poisoned gray mud from that very mirror, so that the psychic silver reflections of the once bloody thing could help to make the darkness of his room that much brighter for him. Whatever war-torn, shell-shock trauma, whatever human abuse, Roger rose with best resilience against them, in his better half-century thriving in this temporal world. Soon they'd give way to a paradise I once had the pleasure and privilege of knowing. One to covet, one that existed alongside us in place of above us. What with our mohawks and tattooed heads? If you were lucky enough to witness Roger's morning battle cry he woke with every morning, then you knew the deep pit he crawled out of every time he woke from dreaming. All simply to laugh with his friends again, to take pride in them, and listening to them in their complex glory, and build them up one more time. After the 1-year COVID lockdown with the savior of warrior men, Alexandra had run its natural course, and exotic romance fizzled out to a domestic familiarity I was personally never made for. Roger helped to bring me back to my real wife, New York City. In kind, the savior of men that Allie is found a kindred spirit, a dirty pink to match her sunshine yellow, a creamsicle orange to complement her lime greens, and a mad Prince purple to lend a hand with her deep, sad blues. Together they were comedically angelic, like wild birds of paradise in the wild sing-song jungles of Papua New Guinea. Roger, my close friend and confidant, destroyed a toxic, cynical belief and fear of mine, one I didn't know I held, and held for so long as I've been alive, and been alive as myself. It's a belief and fear I bet you have too, if you didn't know it. I'll show you now. It's this, that life only becomes progressively, exponentially, and horrifyingly worse before you die. This doesn't have to be true. In fact, for most of us, that toxic belief only becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's the outcome we expect, so it's the outcome we make happen. For stupid fear of the ever-present devil we don't know. In the beginning of knowing Roger White, I bore witness in terror as he drowned in his light suffering and 500-plus rat filth And at first, that only strengthened my belief that life only gets worse before we die. One day, I turned to Allie, and I said most deadpan, "Prove me wrong, woman. Please." Sometimes, doubt is a good thing. They proved me wrong together. Roger spent most of his many last days in Jersey in blissful romance, surrounded by and cared for by beautiful women of many generation, animal breed, and plant life. And lastly, this. At so many fear and panic at the mystery what meets us, at the fact of our own life's end, Roger in the least could never be less afraid. Whatever uncanny valley, psychedelic twilight zone madness might meet us after death, Roger could more than handle. My allies and I are not afraid of the mysteries of death. And now, thanks to Roger White, the humble and noble Rat King, I am no longer afraid of what my life will look like in the last years before death. I'm forever grateful to have known him. I'll miss him. I want to thank him for being a great listener.